The all-new iPhone 13. Now with better battery life and coverage than ever before, so you can go wherever life takes you. Hey guys, Jake Toltz here, and I've had this iPhone 7 Plus since pretty much it came out. And today I want to show you guys why I decided to replace this iPhone 7 Plus with the new iPhone 13 Pro Max. So, the key to the whole iPhone 13 lineup is to be convenient for content creators and make their lives easier. So these phones, they're not meant to replace traditional cameras. Obviously, a cinema camera is a cinema camera, but they're meant to be a supplement for the in-between ground when you don't need a cinema camera and Hollywood level quality, but you still want to get some good quality there. We don't want my iPhone 7 shooting some pictures on the go when traveling or small promo, but I also don't need my Blackmagic that I'm filming on right now everywhere I go. So that's what these phones are meant for. That being said, even though these don't replace Hollywood cameras, you're still getting some insane results with these. One thing Apple doesn't mention a lot is with the Pro models, you have to opt for the 256 gig models or higher to be able to shoot with ProRes. Keyword is be able to, because you can't right now. It's a feature that's not here. It's gonna be coming soon in an update, and Apple's pretty good at keeping the promises when they say software updates, but it just seems like they need some last touches, and honestly, if I have to wait a couple months, I'll take it, because ProRes or not ProRes, this still is a great phone, so that's just a cherry on top. So as you know, the unboxing of just the phone was kind of a recreation, because I've been using this phone all day, and I've had a lot of footage that I've been filming and taking test pictures and really putting this phone through its paces. And here's the things I've learned. So we're out in public. We got the iPhone 13 Pro Max in 256 gigabyte edition. So let's start out with the cameras, which are the biggest selling point of the phone. So as you can see right here, we got the 1X, which is the normal zoom. Kind of good. I'll have it on screen right here. Does a decent picture. Then you can go to a 0.5 and a 3X. Gives a great sense of zoom and depth. In total, I think you can go from 0.5 all the way to a 15x zoom. So, and when you're all the way in at 15, I mean, it's hard to hold still, but things are still pretty legible, as you can see. That you can go all the way back out to the 0.5 and really see how far away everything is. Another huge selling point for the 13 Pro Max is gotta be the macro mode, which we can test out right here. We get really in close up and it will automatically switch. And look at the level of detail we have. Let's go find some more stuff to shoot in macro. Literally inside the bush when I'm taking these pictures. Of course, we have the standard portrait mode, which with phones also works in selfie camera, so you can do things like this. But the one thing that we haven't had before is to be able to go into edit like this and literally take the aperture and crank it up with the slide of a button, or down, change it in post. Let's say I don't like that setting, we can change it to anything we want. Now that works with the front and rear facing cameras. Now we're gonna check out the feature that I think everybody's probably most excited for, which is this all new cinematic mode. One of the coolest features I've actually found about cinematic mode is that it works on the front facing camera. So I can actually see you while this is happening. If I do things like this, automatically should shift the focus to whoever's really in frame, who it thinks you're doing. If I walk out of frame, you get him? Back in frame, it's back on me. Why don't you come forward? Oh, hey there, Dad. How you doing?
Good.
Back to me, and there we go. Cinematic mode works pretty good. So I personally think one of the coolest features about cinematic mode is when you want to take it into your own hands but after you've already shot it. You can't really do that. You can rack focus with cinema cameras and stuff like that, but not after the fact, and not easily if you do. With cinematic mode, since it's all using the depth sensor and algorithmically generating the bokeh and the aperture, you can do stuff like this. You can take this shot, go forward, and you see where it changes the focus. Let's say, I want a little more focus on this point. Or I mean a little more blur. Crank up the blur, hit done, but let's say, you know, not really digging how it changes the focus right here. Maybe I want it to stay on me. Stays on me. Goes, goes, goes. Until I leave, it's back. But let's say when I come back in, I don't want it to go back to me. I want it to stay on you. That way, come back on you, back on me, you, me, post. I can do anything I want because it's all generated by the phone, which gives me so many worlds of opportunities, especially editing in post. So a cool thing about this iPhone is even the base model 13s have the sensor shift stabilization features, that's a mouthful, from the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which obviously is included in the Pro series, so let's see how smooth video we can get with just me walking. Here's the gimbal shot of me doing the same motion on a Canon EOS M50. The gimbal I'm using is a Zhiyun Crane V2, I think. So it might not be a complete replacement for a gimbal, especially if you really need to use a cinema camera, because at the end of the day, this phone isn't a replacement for a cinema camera, but it's a good substitute when you really don't need 6K. So for the everyday creator who's maybe on a budget, you can combine your phone and your camera into one and make content that is good enough to be in indie films or really anywhere you want. Apple's done a great job at taking the bar of what it means to be a creator and lowering it to make it even easier to access to people. Because we already had great phone cameras and ability to film videos on phones, but now it's better than ever before. In a photo, now I have the ability to apply these smart profiles, which Apple says aren't like filters. They're like filters on steroids because they don't just take a look and apply evenly through the image. They analyze the image to get the best picture. So skin tones will have the filter applied in a way more natural way as opposed to a solid wall. You can take these features and really customize them to whatever look you like, and they'll be baked into your photos. So for people who aren't super tech savvy or don't want to edit photos a lot in post, this feature is phenomenal, especially if you like the image styles of like Samsung or Google Pixels, which some are more vibrant and saturated, some are a little more toned down. You can get that in all of your pictures, making the new iPhone the most universal camera ever, because any look you want can be baked into your images. With the new phone's processing power in iOS 15, we get a thing called Smart HDR4. And that sounds a little weird and also simple, but it's not. With the new Bionic A15 chip on the iPhone 13 series, this Smart HDR4 is insane. It allows you to take pictures, and it takes so many different exposures and kind of layers them and chooses the best pieces from each part to extract all the detail. And it can also do that for each individual subject, up to 4 subjects. 4 subjects in a scene, making their skin tone, lighting, and contrast look perfect for each one of them. And then on top of that, changing the exposure for the background. That's something we've never seen before. So, for the people who are more tech savvy, Apple has Pro RAW, which lets you literally shoot raw photos on your iPhone, so you can take those images in DNG format and import them into any imaging editing software you use, whether that be Luminar, Photoshop, or Lightroom. And you can do pretty much anything you want because it stores 12 bits of information in these files, which is an insane amount of detail. If you have something that looks a little blown out, you have so much in the highlights that you can still recover and in the shadows.
So being the absolute professional that I am, obviously, I forgot to explain what RAW is for people who don't necessarily understand. And in its simplest form is it's a bigger file size that stores more information. So by having it be less compressed in a bigger file, you can pull that information from the highlights and shadows, like I was saying. So, straight out of the camera on the iPhone 13, here are three images that I took in RAW. They don't look amazing because the iPhone actually isn't doing much to really any at all processing on these photos, so you can choose more what style you want in post. Then I took them into my favorite editing software. For me, that's Lightroom. I did some quick edits, and as you can see, this is what they look like after, which gives so much potential to images. And just because one doesn't look great originally, kind of shows how much in post matters as opposed to what you see on the actual camera itself.
One super quick thing that I wasn't able to film was night mode. So I'm in my studio right now. It's nighttime. I only have lights on me. So let's see how it actually does. Ooh, we have to actually get this light off. Can we get this light off, cameraman? Wow. This is insane. It's taking super smooth, long exposures, and I can see stuff that I can't see in real life. And with the sensor shift stabilization, it's actually turning out decent quality, like you can see on screen right here. So this is the normal camera. The telephoto has to go a little bit longer, but still looks pretty good. The colors are a little more vibrant because it's only picking up the purple light that I have on. But even the ultra wide, which is the hardest camera, is getting some insane lighting, as you can see. So one thing I forgot to mention earlier while I was showing you guys out and about is all the features on the back cameras are also available on the front camera, literally except for the sensor shift, which is amazing because it gives you the ability to do cinematic mode, night mode, and all these other features, and it even has its own software stabilization that I'm assuming uses the gyros, because like I'm a shaky guy. My blood sugar's all over the place, and this is still pretty stable footage. So let's hit the lights back on. And the lights are back on. I've had a great time with this phone. And like I said, I'm going to tell you if I think this phone is for you. For the average consumer who just wants to capture grandma's birthday or get some really fire Instagram photos, the iPhone 13, not the Pro version, is more than overkill. And honestly, if you have the 12 and you're one of those average users, I don't think it's worth it to upgrade because I think next year we'll have more substantial changes that will be more beneficial to the average Joe. But if you have an older phone and you're looking for an upgrade, definitely go for the 13 mini or the 13 flat out. The cameras in their phones are the same exact cameras except for the telephoto, which is the super zoom lens, from the 12 Pro Max, the best cameras of Apple's last generation of phones. So if you're looking for an upgrade, definitely go for it. But if you have the 12, wait till next year in my honest opinion, because I think even bigger changes are yet to come. But where this phone really shines, it's in the camera, it's in the software, it's for content creators. So if you're a content creator, definitely get the Pro. If you make an income being a creative or can see the actual day-to-day use of this and the features being worth it for you, go for it. The one thing I'll say, it's a $200 upgrade from the 13 to the 13 Pro, but if you're shooting video, definitely spend the $100 extra to go for the 256 model because you're going to want the ProRes and there's definitely going to be a lot of FOMO if you don't have it. But that's just my opinion. You always should work within what your budget is. The difference between the Pro and the Pro Max, battery size and screen size. Really, I don't think the battery size or the screen size is worth it unless it's comfortable. Go with whatever size is comfortable in your hands because you're not going to want a phone that's too big or too small. And I've been using the 7 Plus literally, it's turning on. I've been using it literally probably since it came out. I have big hands. I'm a tall guy. And so this phone felt most comfortable to me. And for an extra $100, I felt that my comfortability, if that's a word, was justified. And on top of that, I get the extra battery size, and it's what, like 6 hours more of video playback time that Apple says. Who knows how much it actually is because we don't get to see the full specs of the actual internal battery. And the screen size is just a bonus. So those are my thoughts, and that's what I think you should do. But if you're still kind of unsure, I'm gonna have a couple more videos coming out soon. As some of you may know, you can go to my website or see my YouTube. I do product photography and product videography. So coming up, I have a Instagram promo shoot for a coffee shop that you're gonna wanna see because it's gonna be amazing. And guess what? Just using the iPhone. And then I'm gonna do a product photography shoot for an organic energy drink brand. If you really wanna see what this phone does when it's pushed to its most absolute, whatever the word is, when this goes to its full potential, if you wanna see that, click on the notification bell so you can be one of the first people to see it. Other than that, I think I've pretty much covered it all. When ProRes finally does come out, I'll be one of the first people to review it, and that's a promise. Look, no, what am I doing? Words! When ProRes comes out, I'm gonna make a comparison video, taking the ProRes from this versus that Blackmagic that I'm shooting on right there. It's the Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. I don't think it's gonna be that far behind. It's obviously not gonna top it because this is a cinema camera. But this is an iPhone. So if it can get anywhere close, that's pretty incredible. So if you guys want to see that, leave a comment down below and subscribe. Other than that, that's all for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.